In this video, we will be going over myths that Hestia is in, how the ancient Greeks worshipped her, and what her sacred symbols were. Hestia is the virgin goddess of the house and hearth. Her name literally translates to hearth in ancient Greek. Hestia was the firstborn of the first-generation Olympians, along with Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. Her parents were Rhea and Kronos. Since she was the firstborn, she was the first to be eaten by Kronos in Hestia's Theogony, written in 700 BCE. A quote from it is, "But Rhea was subject in love to Kronos, and bare splendid children, Hestia, Demeter, and gold-shod Hera, and strong Hades, pitiless in heart, who dwells under the earth, and the loud crashing Poseidon, and wise Zeus, father of gods and men." Another of the myths is the Homeric hymn to Aphrodite by anonymous authors in the 7th century, in which Poseidon and Apollo proposed to her. She refused, and Zeus let her swear to be a virgin. Some people say she did this to avoid conflict. Hestia was the lady who was wooed by Poseidon and Apollo, but she was quite unwilling, and she firmly refused. She swore as she touched the head of her father Zeus that she would be a virgin for all days to come. She is seated in the middle of the house, getting the richest portion, and in all the temples of the gods she has a share in the honor. Let's go over some of what the lines mean. We'll begin with, she swore as she touched the head of her father Zeus. Zeus isn't actually her father. The quote is written this way because he is the king of the gods. Next is, she is seated in the middle of the house. The hearth was in the middle of a house, and Hestia is the goddess of house and hearth, meaning her seat in the middle of the house is the hearth. Now let's move on to getting the richest portion. This means that she would be getting the best offerings. Lastly, the line, and in all the temples of the gods she has the share in the honor, meant that even other gods and goddesses' temples she was still respected. Her symbol was fire, and in most temples a fire was lit. In another part of the myth, she was also said to be one of the only goddesses besides Artemis and Athena who remained a virgin. The first is Athena, for she takes no pleasure in the things done by golden Aphrodite. The second is the renowned Artemis. Never has she been subdued by Aphrodite, lover of smiles. Third one, not to take in pleasure in things done by Aphrodite, is Hestia. Trigger warning for the next myth. There are references to attempted rape and a god's phallus, so if you want to skip this, you can. Now on to the third myth, which is in Fasti, Book 6 by Ovid in 8th CE. This one is Greco-Roman, so it can be told with both Roman and Greek names. In the myth, there is a fertility god, Priapus, who was cursed by Hera while still in Aphrodite's womb to have a constantly erect phallus and be very ugly. According to the myth, Priapus sees a sleeping Hestia at a party and goes over to rape her. A donkey brays and it wakes her up. Priapus's actions angered the gods and they tried to catch him, but they missed and he got away. Priapus's followers were angry that he didn't get to go through with the rape, so they tried to sacrifice the donkey who woke her up. Hestia stopped them and put a wreath on it, making it one of her sacred animals. In the version of the myth Ovid wrote down, she was named Vesta. A quote from the myth is, Vesta lay, and careless took her peaceful rest. He spied Vesta too. It is doubtful whether he took her for a nymph or knew her to be Vesta. He walked on tiptoe with throbbing heart. The ass uttered an ill-timed bray. Frightened by the deep voice, the goddess started up. The whole troop flocked together. Priapus made his escape between hands that would have stopped him. Lampsacus is wont to sacrifice this animal to Priapus, saying, "We feally give the flames the innards of the telltale." The animal goddess thou dost adorn with necklaces of loaves in memory of the event. Work comes to a stop, the mills are empty and silent. Now, the last thing I am going over is a myth that has been circulating for years as a real ancient Greek myth. Well, it's just made up in the mid-1950s. That is that Hestia gave up her seat as one of the 12 Olympians to Dionysus. There is no proof that this has ever happened until Robert Graves wrote it in his book, The Greek Myths, in 1955. A definitive list of all the Olympians was never found, with everyone having their own list of gods who counted as the 12 Olympians. This false myth has been spread and seen as truth, but it really is not a real myth, but one made up to explain the contradictions in Greek mythology and has been taken as fact. Since Hestia was the goddess of the house and hearth, she was mostly worshipped in the home. Seeing as she was worshipped inside the house, most people think she didn't have priests or a cult of Hestia. Though according to Mika Kajava, there may be hints that in some places there was a small group. She states in her paper, Hestia, Hearth, Goddess, and Cult, that the evidence is very scanty elsewhere too, priests of Hestia being known only from Delos and Caria, the only priestess from Euboean Chalcis. Throughout this section, though, she points out why it's most probably not true. While Hestia may not have had some priests and a priestess, she didn't have a substantial cult. That doesn't mean, though, she isn't important to the lives of the ancient Greeks. Even though Hestia was the goddess of the house and hearth, other places were seen as her domain as well. She is mentioned in Pindar's Nemean Ode 11, estimated to be written around 446 BCE, which is about celebrating the installation of Aristogoras of Tenedos as president or chief magistrate of the governing council on the island of Tenedos. In lines 1 to 10, it says, Daughter of Rhea, you who have received the town hall under your protection, Hestia, welcome Aristogoras to your dwelling, and welcome to a place near your splendid scepter, his companions. Often they worship you, first of the gods, with liberations and often with the savor of burnt sacrifice. As the quote mentions, the town hall is her dwelling. They also write that she was worshipped with liberations and burnt sacrifices. Liberations are pouring out drinks for the dead or for the gods, as in this case. Hestia receives the first and last offerings at banquets and other feasts and formal events. This shows in the Homeric hymns, Hymn 29 to Hestia, by anonymous authors between roughly 700 and 500 BCE. A quote from it is, offering to Hestia both first and last. And part of the same hymn, it says that without her there would be no banquets, for without you mortals hold no banquet. She also gets the best portion of the offering. According to the Homeric hymn to Aphrodite, she is seated in the middle of the house, getting the richest portion. Just like any other god, Hestia has sacred symbols, like Zeus's thunderbolt and Hermes' talaria, his winged sandals to help him fly. One of her symbols is a veil that she is usually depicted wearing. She wears this as a symbol of virginity and modesty. Another includes the hearth, seeing she is the goddess of house and hearth. A third one is bread, because it was mostly made at home and given to her as offerings. A kettle was also a symbol to show that she was goddess over house management. Lastly, a symbol that is sacred to Hestia is the donkey, because as seen in the myths section, it saved Hestia from Priapus. In this video, we went over Hestia's myths, how the ancient Greeks worshipped her, and what her sacred symbols were. I hope you found this video interesting and learned a bit more about Hestia. If there is any other ancient Greek god or goddess you want me to go over, feel free to write them in the comments. Thank you for watching and have a great day.